Steve, do you know if we talked to the applicant for the farmer's market about the meeting tonight?
Not sure. And I don't have,
All right, I have her phone number here. I'll give it a quick call.
okay. Good. Not you, the dog.
Steve? I spoke to Miss
Yeah.
Rice
Yep.
and okay.
Lily, for some reason, is not in here as a panelist. She's in here as so I'm going to promote Lily to a panelist. And that should help.
Thanks, Dan. I noticed that.
Lily, is that what your hand was raised for? Okay.
Hi, Lily. Renee, you're washed in sunlight.
I know it's so bright today. I don't want to complain that the sun's coming through here.
I know.
I can't really move anywhere else. It'll hit the tree in about 5 minutes and we should be okay.
No, you're all washed in sunlight.
It's my aura.
Yes. Okay, I think it's 7 o'clock or 6:30. Wow.
Or 7.
Elisa, you're muted.
Oh, I said pick a time zone. We're good. Okay. Motion to call the meeting to order. Is there a second?
I'll second Keating.
I asked if anybody, oh, sorry,
Roll
forgot.
call.
I know, roll call. Jeez.
My turn.
I know, it's your turn.
Trustee Stetser,
That's her eye.
trustee Lightgib,
Like I.
trustee Lampier,
Lampier, aye.
trustee Keating,
Keating,
Mayor Plummer,
Plummer, I.
motion passes.
Okay, I'm asking if anybody has a disclosure or a conflict with any of the agenda items before us this evening.
Keating, I do not.
That's her. I do not.
Lampier, I do not.
Like I do not.
Plummer, I do not. Okay. Good evening to everybody attending. And before we begin, I would ask the village clerk to speak regarding tonight's special meeting.
Okay. This is a special meeting called by the trustees specifically to conduct time-sensitive business on behalf of the village. The next regularly scheduled meeting will be on July 13th. Much of our business tonight is administrative with deadlines to be met prior to the July 13th date. And as such, our meeting tonight will be transactional and abbreviated. And if there's any questions, you can post them in the Q&A and I will answer them as we go along. And have a great meeting.
Great, thank you. Okay, so let's get started here. Department reports, treasurer's report.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Brooklyn.
Hello, hello. We have 2 abstracts in front of us. Abstract 6, which is from the 2020-2021 fiscal year. We're still wrapping up a few of those items. I do have one addition to that. Arch Insurance, there was a slight underpay of $13.95. So we're just looking to send them a small check and get that paid in full. Also on abstract 7, we have the added expense for reimbursement for Mayor Plummer for $295.86, which was for mileage and tolls for Nikon.
Okay,
Did you have a good time down there? Oh, we didn't talk about it too much,
it was
but
great.
I'm sure it was.
It was great. Any questions or comments?
I have one question on the, I'm sorry.
Okay, no, I'm sorry. I was going to recognize Justin. He had his hand up and then Dan.
That's okay. Dan can go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
I have one question on the abstract. It was for 1301. This is the Williamson Law Book Company. And it says mobile software update, $1,301.
Yes, that is an invoice we received. I don't have that in front of me. I would love to give you the full details. That is what is listed on the invoice. I copied that over word for word. If,
Yeah, I just don't know what that is. It's a big number, $1,300, and law book and mobile software update don't match to me. So I guess I'd love some more information on that.
Actually, I think I can speak to that. Williamson Law Book provides our software for DPW, the building inspector, the village for our accounting package. It sounds like they should be like general code. They're dealing with legal, but they're really not. They're just providing software. So this would be a software maintenance issue, probably for the mobile, for the, I'm going to say for the building inspector for his software package.
Okay, and Justin, you had a question?
Yeah, it's on abstract number 6. I was curious about numbers, voucher numbers 33 and 34. It looks like they're for a concrete and cold patch and a diamond wheel. So I guess we're cutting and repairing concrete, and I was just wondering where that was.
unfortunately.
Where was it?
Yeah, what are we, does anybody know what we're doing with those expenses?
I'm not sure specifically what that was for. We could, Zach isn't in the meeting this evening, but we certainly can follow up and find out for you. You know, you can call Zach directly. He can fill you in for sure.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
I would appreciate that. And I noticed
Mhm.
that as far as the account number, and I understand that what we're doing here is verifying that things line up, and especially that we're assigning them to the right accounts for budgeting purposes. And it looks like those are under general DPW contracting,
Mhm.
which is for conferences and phone services and things like that. And it's not under budget items for sidewalks or roads. So I'm wondering what kind of concrete we're cutting and repairing if it doesn't have to do with sidewalks and roads. So wondering if there's a possible classification issue and what's
Mhm.
going on with that one.
Well, we definitely need to follow up on that for sure. If it's, you know, maybe we can follow up with Zach and Mary both. Yeah, thank you for chiming in on that. Any other oh, Jan, yes.
So Brooklyn, a question for you on also on number 6, on voucher number 35, first bank card, there's a bunch of charges. And it's the randomness of these: Arboretum, conference, Zoom, DPW, constant contact. How do all those things tie together?
So the first bank charges are a collection of random charges from different credit cards throughout the village. So I get different ones from Zach, Mary, Dorothea, anyone that has access and the rights to the card. So that's just a general overview of what the main items were, or items that I felt should be expressed in the abstract, so you guys know what is being spent. I can give you a more detailed one if you like, but
Do you want to provide Dan, are you looking for the actual breakdown on the statement?
No, just even that alone is fine.
Okay.
So Brooklyn, so you're basically saying like one of them is probably related to the Arboretum and one of them is probably constant contact, that sort of thing.
correct.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so it gives us a general sense of what the card was used for. Okay, yes, Justin.
Yeah, I also noticed the same items, and it was pretty hard for me to parse out as well. I agree with Dan there. It seems like there's allocations to different accounts, but I couldn't tell what was going on with Arboretum. So it seems like you know, there's a $1,000 expense there, and I know that we're going to buy ryegrass and hay, but it seems like some of the numbers here we're talking about are a lot more than I was expecting. So I would also like to get some clarification on those items that Dan mentioned.
Yeah, I think that'd be great, actually, if you could follow up on that. I agree with Justin. You know, just so we really have an understanding of the specifics.
No problem. But yes, that's something we're working on. I actually created a form. A lot of times those are just receipts that are dropped off to me. So I now have a form that we're going to start using where I can get a more detailed breakdown of what was purchased compared to just receiving the receipt left in my inbox and me going
Good.
from here. So just like when Justin had a question on what concrete, I can have a section of, well, this is what project I'm working on. This is what receipt is for. So
Oh,
we'll
right,
have
good.
a more detailed view going forward.
Great, thank you for that. Great. Any other questions? Is there a motion? from anybody? Yes, Justin?
I will make a motion that we postpone approval of these vouchers pending the clarification that some of us have raised in this meeting.
Can I get the bill pay and look at these items? Because we won't be meeting again until July 13th,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna, we possibly could have penalties on some of these items, and I'd rather not get to where we're being late. So if the board can give me a half a second, I'll pull that packet.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Lisa, Lily has a question. I don't know. if
Oh,
you
I'm
can
sorry,
see.
Lily.
That's okay.
No, that's okay.
Yeah,
It's okay. Will we be doing legal tonight as well? And has everyone had an opportunity to look at Jeff's bill that he sent to everyone? Everyone should have it.
I have not had a chance, no.
Oh, that's too bad because we're not meeting again until July. And this invoice is from May 31st.
well, has everybody else reviewed it? The bill, legal?
Are you talking about the ones that Mary sent on the 17th,
Yes.
Lily?
Yeah. Am I correct, Lily? That's what you're referring to, right? What Mary had sent out, yeah.
I wonder if Dorothea, Dan, if you haven't had a chance to see him, would you want Dorothea to bring it up on the screen?
No, I've got it here. I'll just
Okay.
abstain. I'll just abstain. I haven't had a chance to look through it. This was a special meeting. I thought it was just the agenda items. I didn't know that there was a bill pay that was associated with it.
Yeah, no, we have some deadlines coming up, before the July meeting, so.
Yeah.
They were added in, excuse me.
I apologize to the board. I can't exactly find where Brooklyn has those put. Is there a possibility of proving this and having the answers upon a, trustee like Gibb reviewing? So we can keep it moving along for the concerned items? And if there's a problem, we can pull it then.
Do you want to amend the motion for that? Can somebody amend the motion, please? Anybody?
I mean, these are relatively small tickets. I know
So-
it seems large.
Is the amendment for those 3 bank card items that we're going to provide a breakdown of that? Is that?
That's my understanding. Am I correct? Justin, is there anything you'd like to add? To
I
amend-
think we're
amend
also
it?
talking about items 33
Oh,
and
you're right.
34 I had called out, as well as the bank
Yeah.
card items.
Yeah.
So if we're okay with separating out those items, I'm fine with the rest. I don't have any other concerns.
So amended. Is there a second?
Lampier, second.
So we're paying everything but the called out items, or we're gonna pay it pending, those items pending
Pending
approval
the-
from trustee like it.
Right.
Okay.
That's my understanding. Am I correct with that amendment of the motion?
I'm sorry, we're paying for everything except the items that we've called out, right?
Right, but we will pay for the items pending your review, pending the review, because you've asked to review them.
So that we can pay them after you review them. I'm sure you're gonna
Sure,
find there's
sure.
no issues. I just rather keep it moving along.
I actually would rather not approve those items since we don't know what they just seem really strange to me, and I would rather not.
Okay,
Okay. So the motion stands as is.
So
We
if
have
we're
a
not
second.
paying the bank card, will that incur a
yeah,
fee?
we'll most likely end up with a penalty or whatever issues. I'm trying to avoid that, obviously. I think most of that is coming from Zoom, a lot of it, Constant Contact's in there. Obviously something was charged for the Arboretum. These are, as I said, there's pretty standard items, the DPW items that were called out, they're probably charged to the right bank because Mary separates it. It's just equipment needed for a project, but whatever the board wants to do, we're here to serve. So if we can pay it, if we can just have the motion to pay it upon approval after trustee Lightgib looks at them, it's great. If not, we'll hold it over and we'll deal with what it is.
Yeah, Justin, you had your hand up.
Yeah, is it possible to go ahead and pay the bank card and hold out on the items related to the concrete repair?
Whatever the board wants to do.
Okay, because it doesn't seem like there would be a penalty with those as far as I'm understanding it.
Well, your issue with the concrete repair, I believe, was that it potentially was in the wrong category, not that it shouldn't be paid. Am I correct?
I don't know. I really don't know. They seem, I would like clarification on that. We don't have anybody here to clarify those items.
And it's a good idea to get clarification on that. I don't see any reason to withhold payment on it. It's a maintenance item that has to be used, I'm quite sure.
Okay, I will amend the motion to pay for the invoices, to pay for the vouchers as suggested, pending approval.
Okay. So Lily, you still second that?
Lanfear, second.
Okay, roll call. Trustee Stetser,
Stetser, aye.
trustee Lightgib,
Like bye.
trustee Lampier,
Lanfear, aye.
trustee Keating,
Keating, aye.
Mayor Plummer.
Plummer, I.
Motion passes.
Okay, next, Brooklyn.
That was it from me.
Okay, just want to make sure we're all set. Thanks,
You
everybody.
want to discuss the, I'm sorry, I
Oh, you
interrupted.
had, yes, you wanted to discuss the Osborne bills?
There were several invoices here, and I will give you the numbers. They are invoice number 60516, 60434, 60435, 60433. And that was it. That was it. Those were the invoices, and the invoice date on them is May 31st, 2021. And they cover the period from February 28th, 2021 to May 31st, 2021. So I would respectfully request the board to approve payment of the Osborne Reed outstanding legal fees.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Like second.
Roll call. Trustee Stetser,
Stetser, aye.
trustee Lightgib,
Like bye.
trustee Lampier,
Lanfear, aye.
trustee Keating,
Keating, abstain.
Mayor Plummer.
Plummer, I.
Motion passes.
Okay,
And please note in the record, the reason for my abstention is I haven't had a chance to review them yet.
Okay.
Thank you.
all right. Next, village clerk report.
Under the village clerk, we just have the American Rescue Funds. In reviewing the documents and talking to our legal, to Jeff, we've decided just to get the board to approve the mayor signing off so we can apply for the funding as necessary and give them the information so we can hope to receive some funds from this.
So moved.
Stetser, second.
Okay, roll call. Trustee Stetser,
Aye.
trustee Lightgib,
Like bye.
trustee Lampier,
Lanfear, aye.
trustee Keating,
Keating, aye.
Mayor Plummer.
Plummer, I.
Motion passes.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope, that's all I have for this evening.
Okay. So let's see, oh, well, it's not 7:15. Okay, so why don't we just, we're asking Dorothea to discuss the logistics of putting together the 75 Monroe Avenue planning meeting, because we're really kind of going to be doing a hybrid meeting. So Dorothea, maybe if you could just sort of fill us in on how that hopefully is going to work.
Correct, and I'll ask Marina to jump in too. She's been
Great.
assisting me in getting this all set up. What we're trying to do is set up the room. The room would be open to board members. So when I say board members, I mean Village Board, Historic Preservation Board, Planning and Zoning, Board of Appeals. We will also conduct, again, a webinar such as this for the public to view. There will be no public comment received during the meeting. We are working on the logistics of allowing board members to ask questions, to not only view, but ask questions. And that's where we're running into little problems with feedback issues, trying to set up, because the room is not ready technically for a hybrid meeting. We are working on our quotes and finding the right plan. So we're kind of piecemealing it together to see what we can do. So right now we're looking at 2 computers in there and cameras viewing. So it might be where board members who choose not to come to the hall will have to view from the webinar in the panelist position and put a question up on Q&A if we can't resolve the feedback issue. Otherwise, we will be dealing with board members coming in, and we will try to segregate people between vaccinated and unvaccinated. So we'll ask if you will wear a mask if you're unvaccinated. If you're fully vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask at the hall. So any questions or concerns so far?
Yeah, I just want to jump in really quickly, Dan, just real quick. We also can ask if people are vaccinated and to show proof, because it's a public health issue. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. And Dan, you had a question?
Yeah, so a couple of things. First of all, thank you, Dorothy and Marina, for working on this. The second thing is I'm happy to help you troubleshoot on the feedback problems. I'm pretty good at that stuff. I'm confident I could solve it. The second question I have is related to vaccinated versus unvaccinated. Do we consider somebody who has had the virus and not the vaccine to be vaccinated or unvaccinated?
We consider them unvaccinated.
Okay. I think I'll ask that you be clear about that in the publication of it, because I know of some people who fit into that category.
Right.
And then this is a last resort, but the applicant, I'm not going to use the word applicant, Mr. DiMarzo did offer to rent a room with audio video capability. So if we absolutely can't solve technical issues, know that that is a possibility. I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm just saying as a last resort, it might work if all hell breaks loose on the technical side.
I think with my team, we can put it together. You know, the worst, like I said, the worst case scenario is we can't receive voice commentary from the webinar. They'll be able to view, we'll be able to display whatever is presented, but we just will have to read the questions out loud. So it'll be a matter of a couple people working to one watching the screen, working on the webinar part, and someone working the room and handling the situation on that end. So we'll do the best we can, and it'll also give us a good idea of what problems we're going to run into with the general setup with this situation as well. So it might not be perfect, but we'll make it as best we can. And obviously we'll take any assistance we can get. I know Steve has done some Navy and he's picking up a wire in hopes of solving the current feedback issue we have. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
So
any other questions just about the logistics of this? Yes, Lily?
I know this seems like a minor detail, but I'm just curious as far as the setup of the room. Is the vision for the presenter to be in the front of the room, presenting to all of the board members who are then sitting where the public normally sits?
we're still working out that issue. When we're
Okay.
pointing the camera, we want to make sure we're at least getting the person presenting. So my guess would be we would be aiming towards the front and maybe have another camera aimed towards the back. But at that point, I think the public is going to be more interested in the presenter and not who's in attendance in the room. So we're going to,
Okay.
my primary focus is going to be to the front for the presenter.
then how will you determine the number of people who are not board members who will be able to attend the meeting in that room? I mean, do
The
they
nu-
all show up and then there would be a stop, you can't, no more can come in? I don't know how you're gonna,
The public is not allowed to attend the meeting in person.
oh,
They
I
can
see, okay,
attend-
Yeah.
They can attend by webinar.
I
So
see,
we're
okay,
only dealing with village board members from the 3 boards.
okay,
So
thank you for
that
that
will limit
clarification.
the attendance in that way, and we'll be able to hopefully be able to space accordingly, because you're going to have some people that are comfortable coming into the room and you're going to have some people that are not. So it's the best way we can figure to allow enough space, because if we open up to the general public, we are not going to have enough space to conduct the meeting.
Okay,
Possible.
thank you.
Yeah, it's just, this is our first time out of the gate with all the logistics, so everybody bear with us. Everybody, Dorothea and everybody, Maureen have been really working hard on this. Yeah, Dan, you had a,
So real quick, to be clear to everybody who's listening in on the webinar, we are talking about the first meeting. There are 2 meetings. So
Mhm.
at the first one, there is no public comment allowed. The entire purpose of the second meeting is to have public comment, and to have public comment after they have seen the plans. So I really want to make sure that that is known. And it leads me to my second point, which is this meeting is now a week from tomorrow, and we've done almost no publicity on it. There is a 1-line item meeting on the calendar on the village website. What is the plan
it's
to
going, the post
publicize
is going
this
up.
meeting?
The post is going up first thing tomorrow.
Okay, great,
Yeah,
thanks.
it is, yeah. It's just,
It is fully on our front page of our website right now. It is on the calendar and it's under the meeting section for the village board, and it is describing the meeting. That went up today. We'll be posting on Facebook the
Yeah.
normal meeting notice, and if there's an additional posting for Facebook, I'm
yeah,
at obviously the board's disposal, and we'll get that up accordingly.
Yeah.
The July 15th will be advertising very shortly. That I imagine will go up on the website tomorrow as well as we
Mhm.
move along.
yeah, I'd like them both to go up together. Yeah.
Okay.
Great, great. So the next item up is our bridge construction. The traffic study on Shane Place, just the wear and tear that is occurring on Shane Place. I hope everybody's had a chance to take a look at the proposal from SRF. The good news is that they were able to, well, let me back up. What is helpful is to take a look at the traffic volumes prior to any construction happening on that bridge. And so they were fortunate to obtain a study that was done just a while back. It was actually early days, I think, when Wilmerite was looking potentially at a project down there. So there was a traffic assessment done then. And now they're also proposing, they're going to use that study as a baseline. And then, as you all know, they're going to take a look right now, sort of take a snapshot before the construction is finished of the traffic and the wear and tear and the increased volume, I think, that we're all seeing really on Shane Place. So this will be helpful for us in negotiating with NISTOT to help us with the repairs to Shane Place, because this is certainly a result of the rerouting of the traffic and the additional volume. So are there any other comments on the study or the proposed study, I should say? Renee, do you have anything to add on that, or? I know you
The other, one other point is that we're hoping to recoup the cost.
were-
So we're going to be paying up front, but we're hoping to recoup the cost if NISDOT covers the cost of the repairs.
Yeah, that's the goal. Absolutely. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve. Trustee Keating.
Lanfear, second.
Roll call, trustee Stetser,
That's her eye.
trustee Lightgib,
Like, yeah, bye.
trustee Lampier,
Lanfear, aye.
trustee Keating,
Keating, aye.
Mayor Plummer,
Aye.
motion passes.
Okay.
Elisa,
Yeah.
can you, for the public that's in attendance, we're doing this study pretty quickly, right? SRF was
Yes.
able to open up they're going to do it for a 4-day period.
Yep, and it's a
Okay.
very fast turnaround.
It's in the packet, but just.
Yeah,
for the
yes, you're right. And
okay.
it's some, it's online for people to really review more thoroughly, but exactly, they're really, fitting this in quickly because they know that potentially the bridge will be finished sometime in July. So they're willing to start, first thing in the first part of July with the study. Excuse me, and then they will actually complete the analysis within 10 days. So which is, I think, really to our advantage. We'll really have a pretty good snapshot of the before and after, for sure. So, yeah, thanks, Renee. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, it's really, it's going to be great. Renee, do you want to just talk a little bit about the Hopper agreement? I know Jeff's just going to be
Yes.
coming on, but.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so we're still waiting to get the final version, and we don't expect it to be any different than what was sent around to you all with
Right.
the highlights and the red font. The problem is we're trying to get the permit issued for them to put the station in front of Village Hall, and we need the agreement first. So we have two options. We can either wait until the July meeting, and that puts, then Steve can't issue the permit until after that meeting, or we can, and I wish Jeff was here, give Mayor Plummer the authorization to sign the agreement when it does come in. We don't anticipate any of those changes to not be accepted. We just want to see the final version from Hopper first. And I was expecting it by close of business yesterday, and of course we don't have it yet. So we may want to wait for Jeff. I don't know if you all have any questions. And it's the same agreement that you all saw back in February, possibly even back last year when we originally started doing the notes. So it's just taken a while because they're working with different municipalities, and they've accepted most of what we suggested. And there were a few minor things, as you saw, that Jeff and I want them to change.
Yeah. Just while we're talking, yes, Dan.
So I just have a question. Did Jeff, and I'm sorry, I have a barking dog, so I'll be quick. Did Jeff tell you that was an acceptable thing to do? He's just not on the call to give Elisa the permission to do that?
Yes, so we wanted to talk about how we want to handle it. It would be delayed. You all have seen the agreement. If they come in with all those changes, one option is to give Mayor Plummer the authority to sign it when it comes in, assuming those changes have been made. And if not, we can bring it back in July if it's significantly different. But I would like to have Jeff make sure I chose the right words.
Yeah, I just texted him hoping he could join us a
Okay.
few minutes early. He was going to join us, for the opening of the public hearing, but
Okay.
I'm not sure if he's.
So when he jumps in, or when he joins, if you all want to wait until then to have any discussion, that's fine with me.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, why don't we just hold off because he'll be joining us at some point, and we can follow up with him. How's that?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Then why don't we just move on because we still have about almost 15 minutes for the public hearing. You all received the information about the Seneca Park Zoo proposal. It was just a memorandum from Tom Snyder and Dave Will. They're the conservation director and the naturalist with the Seneca Park Zoo Society. It's really a great program that they have. It's really widely respected. They also have put together, most people know the Butterfly Beltway project, which is a really amazing project that has become a nationwide model. So as you see in the proposal, they're going to be doing a walk, bringing in their own team to map out the site. And Justin, you might want to chime in on this a little bit because you walked with them as well, and they will identify over the entire parcel invasives. They'll help tag the trees that are there, and then come back and do a hike with our residents, with the public, to let people, educate people about what's going on and how to remediate invasives and help establish a program with us. And it's pretty great. And Lily and I spoke earlier because the Pittsburgh Garden Club is really excited about helping in the Arboretum too. And I think this is a great way for everybody to join forces. I think there's a lot of synergy with having the experts come in and help us and work with us to do this. Dustin, is there anything you'd like to add? Because I know you walked with them as well that day, so.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you said about the program, and it was a pleasure walking with them through the Arboretum. They certainly have the expertise, and I appreciate their willingness to help with the weeding. As you said also, I think that this is synergistic with efforts of the Garden Club, and I don't think that there's going to be any controversy over more help weeding. I think they can both go ahead, and one does not exclude the other at all. And in fact,
Well, I think
they're
it's
both
about
very
us working
simple.
together and having a directed program with the experts. So, I mean, I think it's all very, very good stuff. There were dates also associated with that. I don't know if you had a chance to take a look at that, but I'll just remind you. They will be mapping the property. They're going to be using a particular app called IMAP Invasives. It's really great. That's with the zoo staff. They're going to be coming in over a 2-day period at the end of this month. So that'll be on June 30th and then on July 1st. Then the nature hike that they're planning will be just a couple of weeks later in July on the 24th. And during that time also, they're going to lead the work party with our residents, including the Garden Club, to pull some of the invasives around our trees and put down cardboard and mulch and, really try to manage that remediation. So, and that we can set up the date. I think they left that a little flexible, just depending on how, we have the community outreach and all of that. And then just to add on to, they're going to look at a proper seed mix to be put down in the fall that will anchor everything. So it will hopefully suppress some of the invasives in the spring, so it's frankly, it's a great program. And the best part of all is they're self-funded. So the only thing we may really pay for is probably some seed. So that's exciting. We have all that expertise. So is there a motion to approve their proposal and move forward? Yes, Lily.
I would like to make the motion. However, I would have one question ahead of time. The walkthrough, the tour that is being proposed for the 30th. Is that for all the trustees? Is that what we had spoken about previously about the trustees meeting on site and walking through? Right. This is that meeting?
No, that is going to be a separate meeting.
That's separate. Okay.
Yeah, because we haven't set that up yet. I was trying, in fact, I should probably try to get back this week because 2 people were on vacation.
Okay.
And now they're back. So yeah, that'll just still be a whole separate walk just for the trustees. Right. You can really focus and ask questions and understand what's going on.
Okay, then I will make that motion then. Thank you for the clarification.
Okay, yep, thanks. Is there a second?
Stetser, second.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, we ready for roll call? Okay, trustee Stetser,
Stetser, aye.
trustee Lightgib,
Lightgib, aye.
trustee Lampier,
Lampier, aye.
trustee Keating,
Keating, aye.
Mayor Plummer,
All right.
motion passes.
Okay, still a few minutes. We could go right to member items. Okay, Renee?
I have an easy one, I think. The bike racks, Lily brought it to our attention that the bike racks, now that the new pavilion is there, when bikes are there, kind of push the bikes into the walkway. So we are trying, Zach and I met and are trying out 2 new locations. We split them up. One is in front of where the junction with the bike boulevard and the canal path is. I sent you all photos of that one. So it's in the grass in between Girasole parking lot and the canal path, in between the 2 trees there. And then the other one is down by neutral ground. And we can kind of put some some stops there to kind of anchor them without them being too permanent, which will allow them to not wiggle around. But we wanted to make sure everyone was comfortable with trying out those 2 locations for right now.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Lily.
Yes, could you please clarify as to the ownership of the property where you're proposing to put the displaced bike rack?
Both are village property.
Thank you. Wanted to verify that we were not placing it on private property.
Okay. Any other comments for Renee? Questions? Any other member items, Renee?
I do, the water fountain, we have a lot of requests to turn the water fountain back on. Usually this does not require a board discussion. It's just something we do seasonally. Now that the restrictions have been lifted, can we turn them back on?
I
On
think
Shane
so.
Place.
Yeah, I'm all for that. People have been asking. I know I had a meeting with Zach and he said he's getting a lot of requests. And I think also for people who have dogs, you know.
Okay, I'll let Zach told, since he can't be here, he wanted me to let him know
Yeah.
so he can turn him back on.
I say yes. Any other thoughts? I'm getting nods. Okay.
Okay.
Thumbs up. Okay.
All right,
Okay.
Should we
have water
poll the
fountain.
board? Do you want to poll
Yeah,
the
why don't
board?
we poll, because
Okay.
because it was actually a health issue that we voted on, before. You're right. Let's do that.
So, not necessarily a vote, we'll just poll.
Poll.
Trustee
Yeah.
Stetser,
I want them on.
trustee Lightgib,
Aye.
okay, trustee Lampier,
On,
trustee Keating,
On as long as the health guidelines say it's okay to do.
Mayor Palmer.
On for the dogs. There we go.
Water is on.
Okay. Any other member items, Renee, from you?
The canal path crumbling, we're talking about that. We know it's happening. Zach, our attorney, Jeff, and Mayor Plummer are, I think, working on it, trying to see how we can shore it up. I don't know how much, we don't have much more information about it yet,
Mhm.
but we do know it's a continuing problem.
Yeah,
Do we
and
need
Zach, well, Zach was going to do some emergency patching, right? So you also talked
Yes,
about
and
putting
asphalt.
like a line, spraying a,
Yeah, and I was gonna wait for Jeff to come. I didn't know
Yeah.
if that was, aesthetically, that's really ugly, but I don't know if that's a temporary solution. We're just worried that someone particularly at dusk or at
Right.
dark, I mean, there's a huge drop where the asphalt has crumbled and it's
Right.
not, most of the times where the asphalt ends, you can slowly, gently run into some grass, but this is like a drop because the bank itself has eroded a bit.
yeah. And I know we're reaching out again to contact Canal Corporation, I think in a little more strong way. Evidently, they didn't respond. So
Okay.
yeah, we're definitely on that for sure. So
So I don't know how everyone feels about the little spray paint on the side where it's really egregious. Zach said he can put some asphalt under there, but it'll,
Mhm.
it's just going to continue to wash away. But so,
I
I
think
don't
it's a
know.
safety issue. I think we should do something to
okay.
give a visual cue to people, that there's a line, the line will be a visual cue. Any other thoughts from the board? Okay, and we can talk with Jeff about it. We can go offline and figure that out. Okay. Any other member items? You're good. Okay, yes, Justin?
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to briefly touch on the issue of maintenance at Village Hall. And specifically, I remember when I was in the front office a couple of weeks ago, it seems like some of the wood that was previously bare, I think cherry, seems to have been painted. And I wanted to clarify and ask if that was the case and see if we could have a discussion around that.
The woodwork, all of the woodwork, you're talking about the office that I'm sitting in? Is that
Yes.
what you're referring to? Yeah, all of the rest of the woodwork in the entire office had been painted white for years. So this was just painted to match. It was nothing more than that.
So
And that
there
existing
was,
woodwork was cherry as well. So it's simply just painted to match, just the remaining woodwork, that's all. No other woodwork is being painted at all in Village Hall. And in fact, I'm getting into my member item a little bit, but we're excited. We're picking up the restored front door to Village Hall tomorrow.
Great, thank you. So
Yeah.
it sounds like some woodwork was painted before and now more woodwork has been
All of the
painted white.
woodwork except just the woodwork behind me had already been painted. And then the shelves that are inside are actually pine. So it's just, just to match, nothing more.
Sure.
Yeah.
I guess
for asking.
yeah, thank you. And I understand that, there will be changes in style and that sort of thing, but, I'm far from an expert on these issues, but it seems that when you're doing restoration work, the goal would be to try to achieve a look that is consistent with the rest of the property during its significant periods. And I'm just worried if we're painting more clear woodwork white, I've only done a very small amount of paint stripping, but that's a pretty laborious process. And
Right, so
so
let's talk through that because according to Secretary of Interior guidelines, this can be reversed. It's not permanent, so it does comply with the U.S. Secretary of Interior guidelines for restoration work or rehabilitation. And I can send you that citation if you'd like. I'm happy to do so. The other alternative certainly would have been to strip all of the woodwork in the office, but the cost was prohibitive. So it is reversible and still is in compliance. So thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate it. Any other
Sure.
member
And,
item? Oh, I'm sorry,
sorry.
Dan had a question. I'm sorry, Dan, did you have a question?
No, I have a member item.
Oh,
So
I'm
you
sorry.
said-
Okay, Justin has still hasn't finished.
I would just like to continue with this. It seems like perhaps we might not be on the same page in terms of our stewardship of historic resources. And I know that the Village Hall is economically and culturally important for the village. While there might be disagreements, I want to make sure that we're being good stewards for these resources, which don't belong to any of us. They belong to the taxpayers in the village. So I appreciate your offer to send along those resources. I would make the alternative suggestion that we actually refer this to the HPB. We've got a group of people who are skilled and passionate about historic preservation. And so I will make a motion that we ask the HPB about some of these, about the Village Hall and what we should be doing in terms of the woodwork, as well as the side door, which appears to have been sanded as well. And I don't think that we've talked about that either. But
The side door is being restored. We couldn't take both doors off at once for access to the building. So the side door will be restored back to its original state as the front door has been restored as well. Jeff, I don't know if you caught part of this member item from Trustee Lightgab. If you could just, it's about referring any like painting of woodwork. Like he's interested in the woodwork that was painted in my office to match the pre-existing painted woodwork in my office. And he wanted to refer these matters to the Historic Preservation Board.
yes, and to be
so-
clear,
Sorry.
perhaps I can clarify this. I'm looking for an advisory opinion on how to take care of our historic resource, particularly the woodwork in the building, and looking for their advisory opinion on how that should be maintained, especially in light of some recent changes that have been made, as well as the side door, which we have not discussed and which we have not taken any action on. I would like their opinion as experts on how to take care of those resources.
I
So
can
that is my
tell you
motion.
that I did speak with a member of the board of the Landmark Society of Western New York. And they were fine with it, because of the Secretary of Interior guidelines. So no other woodwork is going to be painted in this building. Jeff, I'm sorry.
If we're talking about interior renovations, I don't know that the HPB would involve itself at that level. And if we're not talking about changing an exterior architectural feature, I'm not sure they would involve themselves unless we're talking about that.
We're
I
not.
don't think
We're not.
they would involve themselves, but if you ask them for an opinion about how to refinish wood, they would go find an expert
Right.
because they probably don't. And certainly I don't want to speak for that board. I don't want to be misinterpreted that way.
I
But-
would, yeah, I'm sorry, Jeff, go ahead.
So I can just tell you what my experience with that board has been, that if you were to refer those kind of issues to them, I think if it was interior, they would say no, they don't deal with that. Secondly, if it was not changing an exterior feature, the actual type, how the feature fit into the historic resource, I don't think they would deal with that. But if you ask them their opinion about how to work with wood, I would think they would not have that expertise and they would go farm that out. That's
And,
my thought.
in
Certainly.
fact, in fact, the company we're finishing the doors is a recommended restoration company that we're using. I would like to speak to the exterior features because we do have wrought iron rails, as you know, on the front that are coming, they're splitting and they will need repair, as well as the little tiny balcony cement pads that are out in the front of the building. The edges have crumbled off. So I've reached out to the Landmark Society of Western New York. That was a recommendation from an historic preservation board member to get referrals about how we would go about that. And happy to bring it back to HPB. It's the exterior of the building, but it would be a restoration.
If I may, Mayor, thank you. I believe that I made a motion, and I would like to go back to that, please. In response to Mr. Turner's comment, it does seem like the HPB code is quite a bit broader. In section 112-4I8, it says the board may investigate, report, testify, and recommend to the planning board, the zoning board of appeals, the village board of trustees, and any village department or official on matters, permits, authorizations, and other actions that affect buildings, structures, and places within the district, including any and all matters over which the HPRB has jurisdiction pursuant to this chapter. So I think that in an advisory capacity, they're able to consider the matter that I brought up. And I just don't think that we have the expertise. I would rather ask them for their opinion on these issues that we have not discussed.
Can, Mr. Turner, would you weigh in, please? Yes.
Well, I'm just thinking that particular code section, I would would be limited by the actual jurisdiction of the HPB, which is exterior architectural features. As I said, you could always ask them, but they would simply go get some expert
Right.
to refer to the board, because I don't think, and again, I could be wrong. Ginny Searle may have expertise in other areas as an architect, but I don't know about, I mean, I wouldn't want to speak for the board really, but I don't know that they have the expertise on maintenance of building materials.
So can you restate your motion, please?
Yes. And as a little bit of background to recap here, I feel like there are things that we keep having come up on this board where I'm not sure that we're on the same page about how to take care of some of our resources. The Village Hall is listed in the National Register. It specifically mentions the front office and the unchanged woodwork in the inventory form that's filed with the NPS in its filing as a significant building. And I don't feel like we're necessarily on the same page about things like the front door of Village Hall, the painting in the front office, and the side door. And I don't think this is a jurisdictional matter to the HPB. This is asking for an advisory opinion and something that seems to be within their charge.
Okay.
I realize it's not binding, but my motion is to ask for their opinion on the painting of the front office and on the side door, which we have not yet discussed, and how those issues should be handled.
Okay, thank you so much. And Jeff, you had a comment? Oh, you're muted, Jeff. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know if it's pertinent, but if you wanted to get an opinion on something like that, maybe you would go to the National Park Service. I don't know. I don't know where you would be on that list.
I spoke with the Landmark Society of Western New York, and they make recommendations and work with this all the time. And I'm sure people listening tonight are very aware that they are a highly competent and wonderful professional organization with matters such as this. We have a motion before us. Is there a second?
I will second also for the purposes of discussion. May I add?
Yeah.
Something? Okay, thank you. I didn't know, and there was a question I saw in the sidebar a moment ago that wondered is the fact that this is a municipal building, does it fall then under a different set of criteria or different guideline? The second part of that would be also that the building was gifted to the Village of Pittsford, the public.
Mhm.
Would that also be another element that should be considered? And my third comment is that in the past, though it might not have been required, I believe as a matter of courtesy, the HPB was brought in on some of the discussion and decision-making, helping the trustees with any changes they were contemplating to the building, either inside or out. So I just want to offer that as information, just
Yeah.
sideline information.
Thank you for that. And, also then it calls into question, the tiling in the foyer when you enter the building. That's not, historic to the period, that wasn't put in 1855. The white linoleum floor that is in our meeting room, the aluminum storm windows that are surround the entire building on every window that don't even meet the criteria put forth right now in our code. And here we are asking residents to do certain things for their windows. So I think, if we go down the path, we go down that path all the way. Yep. Any other discussion? There's a second. Yes, Renee?
So Justin, what you're suggesting is just some sort of checks and balance so that, and are there any other ideas? You're recommending the HPB, but like, can someone else do this as well? I mean, I heard Mayor Plummer mention
The Landmark Society of Western
Landmark
New York.
Society.
Yep.
What you're asking for is for a consultation, right? Just to make sure that any
Which I
changes that are
had.
made. Yeah,
Which I had with the Landmark Society.
right. So
I
you're
had.
asking for a public, it sounds like there was consultation. Are you asking for some sort of public checks and balance for this? And does it need to be the HPB? I know that's the motion on the floor, but you're just looking for a consult, it sounds like.
Yeah, I feel like it doesn't have to be the HPB, but I think that if it's the benefits of the HPB are that there are people who care about the village, they're another municipal board, and it seems to fit in with their mission. So I don't see the harm in asking them. And I think that while I might not necessarily go back 10 or 15 years and ask about opinions on all those things, I think that going forward, it would be great to have a practice where we run things by that board and get their opinions so that there is some kind of a check and balance about how we're stewards for our village resources. That's really what I'm going for here.
I appreciate that. I would like to say I've worked with preservation boards my entire life. I've been a member of the National Trust for Historic Preservation my entire adult life. I reached out to the Landmark Society of Western New York and have consulted with them. I reached out, we have to restore, for example, the tiles that are on our front porch. I have a call into them to make recommendations about who would be appropriate to do that work in terms of restoration. Same thing with replacing exterior, not replacing, but repairing and restoring exterior elements on the building. And as such, I would report back on that. There's long-term deferred maintenance on the exterior of this building, and we really need to address that. Is there any more discussion? Can you call a vote, Dorothea?
Absolutely.
Can
Trustee
you please
Stetser?
read the, I'm sorry, can you please read the motion again? I just want to make sure I have it just
Yeah.
right.
No, I cannot read that motion. It's all over the place and
All right,
stated.
so
You have to go
let's
from the
restate
record.
the motion one more
Basically, it
time.
was-
Sure.
I would like to remind the board, and I know this is important, I don't want to interrupt a motion. We're getting into a long chat on this. We have an applicant who is waiting for their public hearing. I understand the gentleman has a son graduating tonight.
Oh, my gosh.
So can we move this along so we can have him, the
Yes.
motion basically was to refer the
For a
needs
recommendation.
for the village hall for a recommendation to the Historic Preservation Board. is
Specifically on the
addressed.
painting of the front office and on the side door, which has been sanded, just those two items to get their
Mhm.
opinions.
Just for the record, the board did approve the sideboard door to be refinished with the quote that we received from Bailey, and that has already been set in motion. So just so for the record.
Okay, thank you. Take the vote.
Clarify that one. I'm sorry. Are we talking about the side door that was just sanded or the front door?
Both doors
Both
were
doors.
approved for refinishing.
Thank you,
It's all
thank you.
set
And restoration. Yep.
and restoration.
So the motion is for those two things, Justin, just to get a consultation.
Just to
Okay.
get a consultation. And to be honest, I didn't realize we had approved the restoration of the side door. So, but I don't see the harm in asking them for their thoughts on it at this point.
Mhm. Okay, take the vote, please.
Trustee Stetser,
Stetser, aye.
trustee Lightgib,
Like I.
trustee Lampier,
Lanfear, aye.
Mayor Plummer,
Abstain.
trustee Keating,
Aye. Keating, aye. I'm in
Motion
favor, Justin, I hadn't weighed in on this. In short, I think what you're asking for is more or less reasonable of talking to some experts before we do these things. But I also understand Mayor Plummer has said, I did that. So
I did that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I do kind of get both of those ideas. I
Yeah.
think you're both right in this case.
But I see where it's headed, and so it's passed. Okay. So we have a public hearing. Next item. Dorothea?
Yep, I have allowed Mr. Farm to speak. You should be able to unmute yourself. This is the public hearing for the Spiegel Community Center for the Farmers Market. Just a reminder on our public comments. The public may speak only during public comment period of the meeting at such time as the majority of the board allows. Once this is open to public hearing, speakers must give their name, address, and organization, if any. Speakers must be recognized by the presiding officer. Speakers must limit their remarks to 3 minutes on any given topic. Speakers may not yield any remaining time they may have to another speaker. Board members may, with the permission of the mayor, interrupt the speaker during their remarks, but only for the purpose of clarification or for information. All remarks must be addressed to the board as a body and not to any member thereof. Speakers must observe the commonly accepted rules of courtesy, decorum, dignity, and good taste. And any questions, please put through the Q&A and I will answer as needed or put forth for you to speak. And if you're looking to speak during the public hearing, please raise your hand and I will be watching for you. Thank you.
Okay, is there any comment from the board on this application before us?
No, I love the farmer's market so much that I might have to recuse myself.
Okay, is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Okay, a
I'll
second.
second, Stetser.
Quick.
Okay, trustee Stetser,
Stetser, aye.
trustee Lightgib,
Like I.
trustee Lampier,
Lanfear, aye.
trustee Keating,
Keating, aye.
Mayor Plummer,
Plummer, aye.
motion passes.
Okay. Is there anybody from the public wishing to speak? Please state your name and address. Oh, everybody loves the public market, I guess.
Up,
I do.
yes, we do have someone willing to speak. Hold on. Mr. Cove, you can speak.
Hi, this is Lisa Cove, 44 South Main Street. I'm using my husband's phone because mine is dead. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
I just want to really make a comment. I also love the public market. I think that it's an amazing addition to the village to have a public market. My two comments are, and I think I've mentioned it to the last public market chair, whoever runs it. I really liked the location over on North Main Street, right off the parking lot. I just thought it had a lot more exposure and it brought a lot of visitors per se into the public market. And I just thought that it got a lot more recognition there. And I also want them to consider maybe a different day of the week. I think Saturday is such a competitive day with other markets, the downtown one, the Brighton one. And that Thursday night was so good because people would stop on their way home from work. So that's just my comment, but I support it, whatever they can do. And we're just happy that you guys are there.
Thanks. Thank you, Lisa. Any other
Thanks.
any other comments?
I'm looking, reviewing right now. Oh, okay, Abby is here from Impact Earth. Let me allow her to talk. She's with the applicant as well.
Oh, great.
Abby, you can unmute yourself. You should be able to speak.
Hi, thank you very much. I
Hello.
appreciate you taking care of this for us. And I'm sorry that Robert couldn't make it. He was the one, his son is graduating today, so. I would believe that we probably wouldn't change the day as of now, but I do remember them having it as a Thursday, and, there can definitely be discussion next year just based on if there's more interest there. Same with the location. I know we've been here for the past couple years now. So just because it's coming up so quick, I would probably say that we just wouldn't have the time to transition. But it's good to know that for the future, for sure.
Great. Okay. Yes, Lily?
Thank you. This is a little bit of a deviation, but it is about the farmers market, and that is about the beautiful banners that belong to the Village of Pittsford. They're advertising the farmers market, but we're state specific. And I am wondering if the board might consider at a future meeting discussion regarding the sale or auction of those banners, which I think would be wonderful items that villagers and others might wish to have in their collection, and could garner some interest and maybe some income, which then could be worked into another project in the village. But right now they're just rolled up and being stored, and I think that someone might appreciate being able to purchase one.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think FOPV owns them. Who owns
No.
them?
In order to be placed up in the village, they had to be gifted to the
Oh, they were
village.
gifted. Okay, I just want to make
So
sure.
they,
Okay.
yes, they belong to
Okay.
the Village of Pittsford.
Oh,
And
okay,
as
great.
such are our property, and we would be able to sell or auction or give them away as we see fit.
Okay.
I want one.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, Dorothea. Yes. Is there?
We have a question through chat, and the question is, why can't we use the banners
Good
for, I
question.
guess, advertising the market?
Is there? Yeah. I mean, I don't. I'm asking. I think that's a good question. Is there a reason why
It
we're
is.
not using them?
I think because if you look at them, they gave dates.
Oh, they did. Okay.
They had dates and times, and it's different. And unfortunately, maybe you could tape them out or do some other tacky thing, but I don't think you'd want to do that. I think that, if anything, maybe to sell or auction them off and maybe buy new ones.
Okay. I just received a text actually from it looks like a former member of FOPV stating that they don't think that they were ever gifted. I don't know. Do we have a record of that?
Yes, we will check back because
Okay,
I
yeah.
remember the specific legal questions regarding
Right, okay.
the placement of the banners, and I understand that FOPV, I'm gone, did unpack, did pay for them, and then subsequently, so yes, they did take money out of their treasury, they did pay for them,
Okay.
but they were subsequently given to the village so that the village could install them. If I'm
Oh.
speaking, Jeff, please correct me, but that is
Yeah,
what?
I do see Steve has his hand up. So Steve,
Oh, okay.
you have a comment on that? Yeah.
Yeah, well, what I wanted to ask Abby, I had asked for an adjustment to the location because of the changes in COVID rules and the spacing on some of the tents, and I asked for an adjustment on the location of some of the tents to keep them farther away from the residential area on the one portion. And I never received another drawing. So I didn't know if they had readjusted the location of some of the tents.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about that. I was trying to scan it today and I was having issues with my scanner. But we did make it closer, and it's basically, if you're looking at the map, and I'll send it to you as soon as I get into the office and figure out how to scan it. If you look at the parking lot, it's an upside down T basically. So we've brought it closer to the parking lot. And then also, I know you mentioned the music. So we were thinking of switching it to the right side. And then it would be facing, the music would be facing all the vendors instead of facing back towards the fence.
Okay.
So again, I have that drawn out, and I just have to send it to you.
All right, I would ask that the motion, when made, would be upon approval of from me for the location of the tents and the music.
Thank you. Yeah, we're getting nods. Okay. Are there any other questions from the public or comments?
Not that I see. There was another question related to the banners, just that we could check the dates and block them out, which the board did answer. We didn't care for the look.
Yep.
There's no other, wait, we have a hand. Yes, we have Mr. Ferris who'd like to talk. Hold on. Mr. Ferris, you're unmuted. You can speak.
Oh, you're muted.
Mr. Ferris, you're allowed to speak.
I don't know. He's still muted.
Yep.
Does he want to send in the question?
Mr. Ferris, if you need to type it, you can put it in the Q&A and I'll be happy to read it. Going once. I don't believe Mr. Ferris is able to communicate with us at this time, so I'm
Okay.
going to remove his.
Okay. Steve, I'm sorry. Yeah, Steve.
I just want to mention in regards to the banners, if anybody has question on that, we basically right now between the two items that we have approved for banners, I don't believe there would be anywhere else to hang, and we do not have the equipment to hang any more banners than what we're already slated to do for the next while here.
Okay, thank you. Is anything else from the public?
I have no other further comments at this time.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to close the public hearing? Anybody?
So moved.
All
Is there a
right,
second?
Dan can have it. I'll take the second.
Okay,
I'll do the rest of the meeting, all right?
Okay, trustee Stetser,
That's all right.
trustee Lightgib,
Like a bye.
trustee Lampier,
Lampier, aye.
trustee Keating,
Keating, aye.
Mayor Plummer,
Plummer, I.
motion passes.
Okay, so I'm bringing it back to the board. We would amend the motion to approve based on Mr. Loth's request for the revised site plan indicating new spacing for music and the tents. Is that correct, Steve? Okay, I'm getting a nod. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Lampier, second.
Roll call?
Okay, trustee Stetser,
That's all right.
trustee Lightgib,
Like a bye.
trustee Lampier,
Lampier, aye.
trustee Keating,
Keating, aye.
Mayor Plummer,
Plummer, I.
motion passes.
Thanks, Abby.
Thank you very much. Yeah, have a good
Thanks,
night.
Abby. Let us know what we can do to support, okay?
All right, great. Thank you so much.
And congrats to Robert's son.
I will let him know. Thank you.
Okay, we're finished with member items.
No, I had one
Dan,
more.
I'm sorry, Dan,
Yeah.
you were left. I apologize. Yeah.
Yeah, so my question is just, oh, damn, this dog. I just want to make sure, can you go to something else and come, he's gonna do this for a minute.
Okay. Yes, Justin.
Yeah, I had one other member item.
Oh, okay.
And there were a bunch of comments in the sidebar from the planning board that wished to make a statement. And they also sent that in an email to the board before the meeting. So I wanted to read that into the record. And the email says, "Good evening, Mayor Plummer and the Board of Trustees. The PZBA in unanimity offers the following additional comment on the proposed meeting regarding the 75 Monroe Westboro Crossing development. The PZBA looks forward to working with the developer to discuss their new plan and has been consistently open to the idea of participating in further discussion to reach an amicable conclusion. The PZBA has repeatedly indicated its willingness to consider new proposals regarding Westboro Crossing, but has received none. Accordingly, to further discussions in the most efficient manner, the PZBA respectfully requests a detailed site or sketch plan, which includes size, scale, elevations, parking, landscaping, and public amenity details as indicated in our prior communications. We look forward to receiving this information and are willing to discuss the plans after sufficient time for review. When appropriate this evening, we would like to read this into the record for tonight's board meeting. And so I just wanted to do so on their behalf. And I also wanted to express another item that I'm a little bit concerned that repeated attempts to read a statement from the planning board seem to have been neglected in the sidebar. And they seem to have gotten attention from some of the meeting, and I'm just not sure why they were not read into the record. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for reading it. Yeah, Dorothea.
I informed the board I would add it to the record. I did not see the hand raised during that portion of the meeting, and we had passed that and the board had moved on to other agenda items. So it wasn't appropriate at that time to introduce that into the record. So it was going to be added to the record as we have done in other cases. And I
Okay.
believe the board received it by email, so they were aware of the comments.
Okay, thank you. And, thanks for reading into the record. It's all good. Problem solved. Dan? Yes,
Okay, the dog has stopped barking.
thank you.
So here's my only question, and it's kind of it's tangentially related to what Justin said. I just want to make sure I am entirely in favor of transparency, particularly around 75 Monroe. And so I want to know, I just kind of want to talk about on the record why. Now, we didn't vote on anything on 75 Monroe tonight. There was no vote. It was discussing logistics of microphones and feedback and that sort of thing. But why was the decision made to not have public comment on this? I just want to make sure that we're doing everything properly when it comes to this. I'm not
Yeah,
saying it's good or
Yeah,
bad.
no,
I just
I'd
want
like to, I think you raised a good point. I'd like to speak to this. This is a special meeting. And we shouldn't just toss around special meeting. It's a meeting, and it was stated up front in the meeting by our village clerk that's called to conduct business on behalf of our village that's time sensitive. There were deadlines for the things that we were taking action on tonight. So again, the 75 Monroe being identified on the agenda was relative, literally, administratively, to the logistics of what the village clerk and the deputy village clerk are working on to put together the meeting. Frankly, no one has planned yet. No one has any other additional information. We just know that we have the meeting set up. And it's also clarified that there's going to be a full public meeting after the informational meeting where the public can engage and ask questions and talk about the plans. So I'm excited that we're moving forward. I think it's good, and I think it's positive. And I think it's positive for our village. Yep. Any other member items, Dan? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Renee? You're muted.
We
Oh.
didn't discuss now that Jeff is here.
Oh, you're
Hopper
right.
agreement.
Thank you for reminding me.
Okay.
You're right. You're right, the contract. Thank you. Because we
Um,
started to discuss the contract, the Hopper agreement, and we decided to wait for you for your wisdom.
Well, I presented the two options. We can wait until July, until our next meeting, or we could allow, or whatever the appropriate language is, to allow Mayor Plummer to sign the agreement when we get it back, assuming the changes are as reflected in the document that the board received.
Yes, Jeff, yeah.
It might be a long wait to get wisdom from me, but at any rate, I think there is a third option. And Renee and I talked about it briefly. But that option would be for us to make the changes that we think should be made to the contract, and then authorize the mayor to sign that redrafted contract and just send it over to Hopper. So the deal's done.
Mhm.
It cuts out the back and forth that Hopper is, they're hip deep in alligators right now, it sounds like. And I think it would be helpful to them just to get us cleared the decks for us.
just as a practical matter of just
Yeah.
moving it forward.
Yeah,
So it
so
would
we-
be, oh, go ahead, Jeff, you finish.
No, it would be, just be making the changes that Renee has already passed along to the board in the document, making it a Village of Pittsburgh contract, and then the mayor signing it and sending it to Hopper. That's a possibility.
Okay, thank you. Yep. Any other thoughts on that or a motion or somebody want to take an action here?
I will. I am comfortable with that, given that we've been working on this same contract
Yeah.
and we have had several iterations with the previous board, with this board. Jeff has seen them all. I like Jeff's third option there, sending them, making the corrections that I sent and suggestions that we sent to all of you, and
Mhm.
having the mayor sign it and sending it to Hopper. That's a really long motion. How do I shorten that for you, Dorothea? I'll make a motion that the mayor sign the agreement as,
Amended?
yes.
As redrafted
Redrafted.
Thanks, Jeff.
trustee Stetser in conformity with her previous email to the board.
Oh, that's good.
Okay,
Okay, we have a motion before us. Is there a second?
I'll second it, trustee Keating.
Roll call, trustee Stetser,
that's all right.
trustee Lightgib,
Like it by.
trustee Lampier,
Lampier, aye.
trustee Keating,
Keating, aye.
Mayor Plummer,
Plummer, I.
motion passes.
Great. I
Okay.
have that ready. I will forward it along to everyone.
Okay, great. Thanks so much. That's great. And so everybody's finished up on their member items? Okay, is there a motion to adjourn? Anybody?
Motion made.
Is there a second?
Second, Keating.
Okay,
Roll call, trustee Stetser,
That's all right.
trustee Lightgib,
Like it by.
trustee Lampier,
Lampier, aye.
trustee Keating,
Keating, aye.
Mayor Plummer,
Plummer, I.
motion passes. Good
Thanks,
night, all.
everybody.
Good night, all.
Thanks.
night.
Have a good evening.
Good
Take
night,
care.
everyone.
Thanks, everybody.